And even with what we've done, unlike the last president, in my first 2 years, all this stuff, guess what? I cut the deficit $1.7 trillion. Cut the debt $1.7 trillion. And one more thing. One of the ways I was able to invest in you and still bring down the deficit was I started making people pay their fair share.
January 23rd, everybody. Not only that, but the IRS will be receiving and processing tax returns from companies and individual taxpayers for the fiscal year of 2022. So that means people can get stimulus pretty fast. If you don't ask me, well, here's the reason why. At the very least, the earned income tax credit reduces the amount of tax owed. At best, the low-income people who have little or no income tax liability can receive the total credit in the form of a tax refund. But many states are also sending and creating new tax credits to provide extra inflation relief to their residents. The Connecticut governor has recently held a news conference to announce a new budget proposal that he will present to the General Assembly this month. This proposal will include a plan to increase Connecticut's earned income tax credit from the current rate of 30% to the federal rate of 40%. Increasing the rate will provide an additional $45 million in state tax credits to approximately 200,000 qualifying low-income people. Above the amount they are currently receiving under the program, people can get a lot more. Families will generally receive 95% of all the earned income that the tax credit dollars creates. And this is just one of the several tax relief measures that Governor Lamont will include in his upcoming budget proposal. Early this month, he announced it will include a plan to restore the pass-through entity tax credit to its original level, enabling small business owners to save money by claiming a credit that's even larger than the returns. The governor plans to announce additional tax relief measures, including those targeted towards the middle, lower class workers in the coming days, everybody. And key economic indicators such as retail sales and historic job gains are painting the picture of a robust economy that shows few signs of slowing down. But smaller than expected drop in January inflation has some economists worried that the Fed is going to prolong its interest rate hikes, which could tip the economy into recession that pulls millions of people out of work. That's not good, folks, because the CPI, a key gauge of inflation, has fallen for several months in a row, dropping to 6% annually in January, and markets had been expecting the CPI to land at around 6%, cueing a chorus of economists who want the Fed to press ahead with its rate hikes. While the Fed says it's pursuing a soft landing, meaning lower inflation without a serious recession, it expects the rate hikes to boost the unemployment rate by at least a percentage point, if not by a percentage point, then by 2 percentage points as well. I also want to add on this. Data is sure to worry the Fed officials who want consumers to spend less so that companies are forced to bring prices down. The US economy added 500,000 jobs in January, blowing the expectations, but can they do it again? We have a 10 news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. Here is the most important fourth stimulus news that you have to know. The federal government has reached a deal. Stimulus details have been finalized. If your state sent a new extra stimulus this year, you can get another one as well. Inflation has been hurting millions of consumers since 2021, and while things are looking better in that regard now than they did before, January's inflation report contains some less than stellar surprises. Because in January, the CPI, which measures changes in the customer and cost of consumer goods and services, rose 0.5% from December. That's a pretty big jump from last month. It also explains why so many customers are still racking up debt on their credit cards and struggling financially. Everybody, here is the latest news about the fourth stimulus payments from President Biden and the White House. There is a ton of news about this information. There is a ton of news. It will be worth around $914. And they will also have a second payment of the same amount on March 31st. That's equaling a total of $1,800 for the month of March. So the Social Security Administration normally gives out checks once time. And now, when the first of the month occurs on each of the holidays, while recipients receive 2 checks the month prior. Giving people 2 checks in a month, that means the administration will not send a check the following month. But it ensures the recipients receive 12 paychecks a year. And now, eligible couples will receive a March 1st and March 31st payment. And those who live with and provide necessary care to those on Social Security will also receive 2 payments of $500 each in March. And now President Biden has said that some Republicans are threatening Social Security's future, a claim that Republicans have denied, though. The argument ignored key facts about Social Security. This includes that the Social Security trust funds can be depleted as early as 2032, unless Congress acts to prevent that. And without action, starting in 2035, Social Security beneficiaries will get smaller monthly checks, about a 23% cut from what they receive now. and almost 67 million Americans will receive a Social Security payment, totaling $1 trillion. Many older Americans rely on the benefits to pay their basic living expenses. People can start receiving Social Security retirement benefits at age 62, but the full retirements kick in when they turn 67. And Social Security is funded through the payroll tax, and that revenue is put into a trust fund to pay for current beneficiaries. The program, which was started in 1935 by FDR, has become increasingly unaffordable, as life expectancy and the number of eligible recipients has risen, and the number of workers who pay into the program has declined. But a 2022 Social Security's report said that the trust fund used to pay retirees would be depleted in 2034. And the Congressional Budget Office director has told reporters that the depletion would come even earlier, in 2032. So this report is not an outlier. Since 2012, the Social Security's Program Trustees Board has projected that the fund will be depleted in 2022 and 2035. The main ways to cut Social Security solvent are by increasing revenue or decreasing benefits. Folks, that's a solution that will likely require a mix of both. More revenue could come in by increasing the payroll tax, the amount of payroll taxes collected, or just the ratio of people paying payroll taxes on people drawing benefits. For instance, if more working-age people migrate to the U.S., that could increase the number of people paying taxes. But the federal government can also spend less in benefit payments by raising retirement age. It would effectively cut the number of beneficiaries on Social Security. That would mean less stimulus. Because first of all, the government can actually spend less in benefit payments by raising retirement age. It would cut the number of beneficiaries. Some have even suggested that another way to decrease benefits is by decreasing the income replacement rates. So yes, the options to increase revenue or cut benefits have been on the table since the solvency problem first was created in 1980. Republican lawmakers don't even have a unified against their variety of relief initiatives, including stimulus checks, tax rebates, debt relief, and other programs. According to a recent Go Banking Rate survey, 60% of Americans would still like to see more stimulus money in 2023, and so would so many other people across the nation. Because when the crisis that led to this hardship may be over, financial woes for the people that suffered this will definitely not be over. Because the good news is that there are some programs that provide approved payments of 2022 that will continue to roll into this year. It's also possible that the American economy is going to go into recession. Not really possible, but it definitely will head into recession, and we're already in one. Because on the East Coast, several states have some kind of stimulus that will extend this year. Now, not all of the stimulus comes from bills passed by the Fed. Some are rebates or surplus tax refunds that states are passing along to the residents. Because in the state of Delaware, for instance, resident adults 18 and older who filed their income taxes may have been eligible for a Delaware one-time tax rebate. A one-time tax rebate, folks. And what I mean by this is that in the state of Massachusetts, $3 billion surplus was sent out. It decided to divide that money to its residents in the form of tax rebate and refund. Anybody who filed in 2022 should have received their refund already, but residents who filed their taxes on or before September 15th will begin that money